It's raining, it's storming in Atlanta. That's fitting for how I feel after watching the Aces get their ass handed to them on the Valkyries home court. Shout out to the Valkyries and shout out to the Valkyries fandom for, you know, fourth time consecutive selling out an arena, over 18,000 people in attendance. That's amazing for women's basketball. They have the largest fan base, the largest home fan base of any team this season. And for an expansion team, that's just amazing. And for an expansion team to come in here and beat a vetted team 95-68, I really am struggling to find words with this. I've said once before that this Valkyries team is going to be filled with players who are achieving things for the very first time in their career. And Veronica Burton and Kayla Thornton have both done that in this game. They both reached double doubles for the first time. Well, Kayla Thornton reached her first 20 plus point double double in her career, and Veronica Burton reached her first career double double. And a 14.12 assist double double is crazy. And I continue to have to eat my words in not believing in her being a starter over Julie Van Loo. Natalie Nakase is day by day proving the doubters wrong. And I knew that this matchup was going to be interesting just because of the Valkyries play, right? But even more so from the coaching standpoint, because we all know that Nakase was an assistant coach for Coach Becky Hammond. And to see them go at it and to see the details in which the Valkyries played with, they were triple teaming Asia Wilson. They knew exactly where she was going to bring the ball. They watched the film and they executed to the T. And I've listened to press conferences, and Nakase said that if they defend the way that she know that they can defend, they can beat any team in the league. And this performance shows that that's true. And I just continue to look forward to their growth throughout the game. Now, I mentioned Burton and Thornton, but they weren't the only players producing. They had a full team spread here. We got Xanda Lassini with 18 points. She super efficient night, 5 for 9 from the floor, 3 for 4 from 3. And I have to say that Kayla Thornton's shooting percentage was also highly efficient. She was 50% from 3 out of 8 attempts, 50% from the floor out of 16 attempts. The way that the Valkyries are playing in the entire MO that they have as a team, being those underdogs, being a team made up of players who had to fight for every single thing that they want, every single minute that they get, they've had to fight for it their entire careers, and now they're getting these moments to shine. It's making me question the Aces and their roster, because when we look at the Aces, the contrast is completely opposite. We have the underdogs, and then we have somewhat of the Hollywood team. I feel like the Aces are one of the most decorated rosters in the league, full of Olympians, full of all-stars, full of MVPs. And I have to question, are they too complacent? Because after you've achieved so much, what is your motivation? After you reach the top, what are you working for at this point? You know, when you're at the bottom, you're working to get to the top. And now that you're at the top, what is it that you're working for? It makes me think the Aces may be in for what we just saw in Connecticut. Now, I don't think that the bust up of the Connecticut roster had anything to do with them necessarily being at the top of their game, because they, are still waiting for that championship. But I think that we could see the dismantling of the roster at the end of the season, because something is not working anymore. And I don't know what Coach Hammond needs to do to motivate her group, because it's just not click defensively. The same things that we've been talking about from last season is just the effort is not there, or the rotations are not there. The help defense, the miscommunication. How many times does a coach have to say communicate on defense before it clicks? How many times are we going to say communicate on defense before you just communicate on defense? What else needs to happen? And it's like when the Aces lose, they don't just lose. They get their ass whooped when they lose. It's like they win, and when they win, they win by a lot, or when they lose by a lot. And it's just like, man, I felt that Jackie Young came out the gate. She took 5 quick shots. She was 0 for 5 very quickly in that first quarter. The ball wasn't moving enough. In the second half, we finally saw them being more intentional with getting the ball to A'ja Wilson. I don't know what the identity is for this Aces team at this point. What is their offense? Last season, at least we knew get the ball to A'ja. Now we have all these star-studded guards. Now it's the guards are chucking up shots, and now it looks like the offense is running through A'ja since she's the one that's leading in assists. Chelsea Gray is not at her career low with assists, but she's not leading the Aces team in assists, and her whole MO is the point guard. So I'm just trying to figure out what is the game plan for the offense. And listening to Angel Gray throughout the game, she said that Jewel Lloyd told her before the game that they spent a lot of time in practice working on the offense, but it's hard to tell what they were working on. And I'm sure that there were things that were not being executed. And then the question is, why aren't things being executed if you're spending this time in practice? Where is the disconnect? I'm looking over the stats. The Aces had 11 assists to the Valkyries 24. No one person is really standing out with assists. We got Jackie Young has 3, A'ja Wilson has 2, Chelsea Gray had 1 assist. Crystal Bradford 1 assist, Kirsten Bell 1 assist, Tiffany Mitchell 1 assist. That's not gonna 11 assists is not gonna cut it. There was days that Chelsea Gray would get 11 assists on her own. The Valkyries were on the glass. They have 43 rebounds to the Aces 31. Just out hustled. They were hungry. The Aces weren't. We have Wilson leading in scoring with 17 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists on 5 for 13 shooting. I think they did a really good job with defending A'ja. The scouting report on A'ja was down. Chelsea Gray was next, 16 points, 1 assist, 3 rebounds. Then we have Aaliyah Nye off of the bench, 13 points on 4 for 9 shooting, 3 for 8 from 3. Jewel Lloyd is still struggling, just 5 points. 1 for 6 from the floor. I think at this point, the offense needs to be more intentional. The guards need instructions. There's a lot of autonomy in the Aces offense, but what they're showing me is they don't know what to do with that. They haven't found that yet. So there needs to be a little more intentionality in that regard. And I'm wondering how it's going with the new coaches, because the Aces, yes, they have a new player in Jewel Lloyd, but they also had to hire 2 new coaches to come into the franchise. So I'm wondering how everything is gelling at this point, what kind of direction that they're getting outside of Coach Hammond. But there's a lot of work to do. I'm very interested to see how the Aces can bounce back from this game. This has to be a big confidence builder for the Valkyries. They come off a 4-game losing streak to beat the Aces. They got to feel good about that. And in the manner in which they did it, they didn't just beat them. They put belt to ass. So shout out to the Valkyries. Shout out to Coach Nakase for doing a great job. The Valkyries fan base. What are your thoughts, Hoops Tribe? What do the Aces need to do to get back on track? Let's talk hoops.